forward growth, otherwise known as the forward projection of the maxilla, which is often referred to as the bone of beauty, arguably plays the most vital role in your level of attractiveness. And once you understand this, things start to make a lot of sense. When people talk about attractive faces, they usually describe surface level traits. Sharp jawlines, good cheekbones, nice side profile, but those traits do not exist independently. They are downstream effects. They are the consequences of the habits that build them. And a forwardly projected maxilla creates harmony. It supports the midface. It allows the lower face in your mandible to sit correctly. It gives the face depth instead of flatness from both the front and side profile, which is why it is so significant. And biologically, this matters massively. Faces that grow forwardly signal health. They signal proper development, efficiency in breathing, eating, chewing, swallowing, posture, and even function. Even though the observer might not be able to consciously identify what the maxilla even is, they'll be drawn to it. And this is why forward growth consistently overlaps with sexual dimorphism as well. Masculine faces with strong forward growth look more intriguing, more dominant, more assertive. And feminine faces with good forward growth look more youthful, more harmonious. And whilst there are different emotions and connotations attached to the end result specific to gender, it's all caused by the same underlying structure. This is also why elite male models share this trait almost without exception. You can take literally any top model throughout the years and you'll notice the exact same patterns. The maxilla is projected forwardly, the midface is supported. The face doesn't collapse inward, and this isn't a coincidence, this isn't random, which if you haven't clocked onto by now is great news for you. What most people never get to realize is that forward growth is not something you're either born with or not born with. It is influenced. And when it is suppressed, the face doesn't just fail to grow forward, it actually compensates in other less ideal ways. That is why now more than ever, people have extremely recessed maxillas. Not because something went wrong genetically, but simply because modern habits and the habits that you have are working against your craniofacial development without you realizing it. So when looking at what affects someone's forward growth, we need to actually look at the science of what are the key major players involved. Chewing, swallowing patterns, posture, both body posture and oral posture, and consistency. Over time, every single small input will compound. They did a study on it with monkeys, and what they noticed when they just controlled one of the variables I just mentioned being their breathing patterns, they made them wear nose plugs for an extended period of time and then measured their craniofacial development. This is a healthy monkey that had natural breathing patterns. And this, whatever the fuck that is one that didn't. So I really don't want to hear it when you guys say, it's all cope, it doesn't have an effect on the face. There is science behind this, there is extended logic, there is huge reasoning, and I have seen an abundance of anecdotal evidence from all of the guys that I have worked with. It is not cope, it is 100% legit. If you had seen what I'd seen, you would feel as passionately as I do about this. You can completely influence your profile, structurally, bone-wise. I've done it myself, I've done it on hundreds of other guys, and day by day, you won't notice anything. But months later, especially when you put the before and afters side by side, you will realize how much progress you made. You will be much more attractive. There will be people that don't understand what you did, can't pinpoint it back to forward growth, but will look at you and say, what did you do? What products have you been using? I have seen guys come into my community with recessed mid-faces, fix their habits, and make serious progress. On the other hand, I'd seen guys that started off with great jawlines through great habits throughout their development, or great nutrients, or even things like nutrients from the mother when she was pregnant. For whatever reason, they start with a great jawline and then their habits were not able to support that foundation, and then obviously it recesses over time. Nothing about their genetics changed, it was all dictated by their habits, and then of course their maxilla followed. I'll give you a perfect example that you probably know. This guy, Sam Dez. No hate towards him whatsoever, of course, but this is him around 15 and 16 years old. We can clearly see wide cheekbones, a forwardly projected mandible that follows the upper jaw, high bone mass, great body posture. This guy's on track to just be a superstar, right? Look at the way he eats his food. His chewing habits are atrocious. They are working against him every single day. Not to mention, I just happened to see in a caption of his, he made a post about mewing and he said, just kidding guys, I actually didn't know what mewing was until recently. So this is a guy who had a great start, should be in the normal person's eyes genetically gifted and set for life, but just a few key habits that he had that he didn't know were working against him made his jaw look like this. This is him now. This is not natural. And I don't mean not natural in a way that's like surgery and filler. I mean, this is not the course of nature that was supposed to happen. Something extremely unhealthy has happened along the way. You're not supposed to recess with time. Actually, when you know what you're doing, you're supposed to improve with time. And it's not this guy's fault whatsoever. It is the modern diet. It is the modern food. It is the forward head posture from the screens that you're always on and an inability to understand how to fix any of this. If this guy came to me when he was this old, and just joined my community one time and got everything he needed to understand about chewing, breathing, and swallowing patterns, this would have never happened. I need you guys to understand, the tiniest bit of fundamental knowledge applied correctly would have changed the course of his life. And this is the part that most people miss. Making sure you have optimal habits isn't just so you can make as much progress as you can. You might be in good stead. You might look great now, but it's also to ensure that you're not regressing from where you are now. And I'll tell you, most adults have visibly worse jawlines than their teenage selves, simply because they have had longer exposure to incorrect orthotropic habits. So even to the ones with gifted genetics, if your habits are bad, you're not gonna escape it. And once you understand that forward growth is predictable, it follows rules, there are actual biomechanical mechanisms that influence your craniofacial development, and that your facial structure will be a result of how you live over time, you start to look at faces differently. I know what habits someone has by looking at them. This is why I'm so passionate at teaching you guys, because I look at you and I think I could save your fucking life just by having a 10-minute conversation with you. And if this is the first time you're hearing that forward growth even matters, that's normal, I'm not surprised. And equally, if you've spent the last however long on TikTok researching everything you can about Looksmaxing, you obviously know what it is. But either way, most people never learn this. Most people never get this clarity of support to actually understand what they need to implement. And even the people who do think they know what they're doing don't have a clear system to ensure success. So the question becomes, are you actually doing everything that you need to be doing in order to move in the direction you want to move in? Or are you just gonna ignore everything I said and then watch your looks fade over time and forget why?